I'm interviewing you for a news class on our final. It should take 5-10 minutes of your time. This is Ben Adams, and I'm Dan Haughn. Okay, so what was the saddest moment in your life?
The saddest moment of my life would easily be far and away. This past June, my grandmother died. It's kind of a two-part thing because I saw her. She died on a Wednesday. I was here at Ball State working at the rec. But I got to see her the day before on a Tuesday, I guess would make that, right? Well, whichever day it was. I saw her a few days before she passed. She was just in terrible shape, but it was really sad for me, tough to see, because somebody that been so strong my whole life. Never met my grandpa. She lived all 20 years of my life without him, and here she was just reduced to being so weak and not being able to do much and being tended to, and that was really tough for me. So then when I got the call from my mother that she'd passed, I was at work when I took the call, and I was tough. I've been trying to prepare myself for years now about her eventual passing, but nothing you can do will prepare yourself when that moment comes. The tears and everything, it was real. I didn't cry as much as I thought I would, but it was sad. It was very heartbreaking. I got to speak to her now in almost 6 months, been over 6 months now, I guess, and it's just something that I used to take for granted, and I wish I could talk to her every day now. It's something that very, very sad moment in my life.
Okay, so when you're at work, were you able to take some time off as soon as this call came in, or how'd that happen? How did your bosses react to that?
Well, I took the call from my mother, and the first thing that hit me was shock. It's like, she's gone. So right in that moment, I wasn't crying, I wasn't upset. It was, I was able to finish my shift because it was only a 3-hour shift, and I was, I think about 2/3 of the way done with it at that point. But I had another shift a couple hours later on, but I did ask my boss, and or she found me as I was eating on my break, and she asked me how I was doing, and first time that I told anybody out loud that, my grandma passed away, and some tears were coming, and she told me that she didn't think if I wanted to work that day that I didn't need to, and I told her, I'd appreciate it if I could go. She said, absolutely, we'll find somebody to cover it. So that's what she did, and I was able to leave and come home and be with my family that night, which was what I needed.
Mm-hmm. Now, how long did you and your family stay together at that time?
I came home that day. I spent the night with my family, and then I think I spent the next day with them as well. And I went back to work 2 days later because still didn't have a little bit of money, couldn't take all the time off, and I was okay as far as I was definitely sad, no doubt about it, but I was still able to function. So there wasn't any point in me sitting around just sobbing because that wouldn't be any good for me. I decided to come back to work.
And now, how did other family members take this? Was this as drastic as it was for you, as for them?
I can definitely say that for my younger sister, it was tougher than anything. Hannah. And
why was that? Why for your sister? Was she really close with?
She was.
Grandma Jean?
Yeah. About the last 2 or 3 years of her life there, Hannah and Grandma were kind of thick as thieves at times, you could say, until Hannah went off to college a year after we did. So every time she would come home, she spent as much time with Grandma as she could. She loved seeing her. It was really especially hard for her. I know for my older sister Kelly, it was tough. Kelly stayed in Richmond I don't know, she just moved to Indianapolis in the last couple months. So Kelly spent a lot of time with Grandma, taking her places, doing things for her. So she obviously spent a lot of time with her, they were pretty close and everything. And when she died, I know that Kelly was really upset. And one of Kelly's favorite things was to sit with Grandma while Grandma would play the piano. And, Grandma wasn't a great piano player, but Kelly still loved to sit back there and listen to her. So this was something they enjoyed to do. And then I think even on my mom, I never saw any emotion from my dad because I wasn't there when.
Now, this grandma was your.
This is my dad's mom.
Dad's mom.
This is Grandma Adams. Okay.
And now you're saying your mom.
Yes.
Had probably the most emotion come out of this.
The most was obviously Hannah, but I was saying probably even my mother.
Surprisingly emotion.
Yeah.
Now, why was that? Why do you think that was?
It's not the. I guess I shouldn't say surprising. I should just say that even from my mother, because she took care of Grandma a lot too. It was basically like having another child, just because we lived 2 minutes from her, if that, depending on what traffic was like. So we were there all the time. Mom did just an insane amount of things for Grandma, as far as tending to her house, her garden, everything. And it was, I know Mom had a really special relationship with her. And then to lose her like that, I know it upset her. And, the thing is she died on my mom's birthday, too. So that was something that, I don't know if it played any part in Mom's emotions, but I think it'd be crazy to think that it didn't.
Now, were a lot of family able to come see your grandma before her passing?
As to that one, I'm not 100% sure. I know that some of my cousins, let's see, I think actually, as I sit here and think about it, that only about 2 of my cousins were able to make it. One is Joe, you know him, and then one is my other cousin who lived about 20 minutes away, so he's able to come down. But the rest of the family, they live about an hour away, and then not to talk, not to say anything negative about him, but none of them were really as close with Grandma as we all were. So they didn't, really call and say, but they were all notified that she was going to be, she didn't have much time left. And if they came, they came. If they didn't, well, that's okay. It wouldn't matter to Grandma.
Now, was this just natural causes?
It was natural cause, yeah.
Being old.
Just being old. She's 89. It's a long time. She, like I said, she's been alone for, oh, heck. See, Dad is 49. I'd say she was alone for over 35, close to 40 years, because Grandpa Adams died when my dad was 9, and he's 49 now, so I think that math is right. But, yeah.
To finalize this, what was the best moment with you personally with Grandma June? That you'll always have.
That's a lifetime of moments, honestly, in there. One of my favorite things is, I would say that every Sunday after church, it was our thing to go eat lunch with Grandma somewhere. And if that meant we were eating at her house and she was cooking up hamburgers or minute steaks and mashed potatoes and gravy or something like that, or we'd head down to the Greasy Spoon there in Fountain City and have some, this little, what you want to call a little diner type place, or sometimes we would go to the Hardee's over there, which I have no idea how we ever ended up going to Hardee's, but we like to go on there one too. So to me, that was very special, because it was always me and Grandma, and Hannah was sometimes there, and then Kelly was sometimes there, and Dad was always there with us too when we were eating at her place. So that was something that I'll always have with me, and I'll always appreciate.
Well, thank you, Ben Adams.
No problem, Dan.
I think we got 8 minutes is good. She won't see the